Hello everyone, welcome to AI TV. I am with Mosa, who is the founder of Actualise. Now I know this young man looks relatively young, but he has over 15 years of experience in the AI space. I think even before any of us knew what AI was. So a warm welcome to you, Mosa. Welcome to AI TV.
Thank you very much, Mahal. So thank you for having me here.
Absolutely, you're welcome. You're welcome. Walk me through your 15 years in AI. What was AI like 15 years ago?
When I was 20 years old, I had the opportunity of a lifetime to build a consulting firm while I was still studying. And that's when I dived into the pool head first, understanding data analysis. And then I encountered data science, and that became what we know as AI today.
Incredible. And what sort of inspired your journey into entrepreneurship as opposed to traditional corporate, or did you have a stint in corporate?
Never worked in corporate. Straight after varsity, went immediately into entrepreneurship. And that's where I learned. I picked up a whole lot of skills, but the inspiration for that has really been my parents. My father's a teacher, he teaches maths, and has always been coaching me into the quantitative side of things and thinking analytically. So that's why I had a natural affinity for data analysis, data science, starting in Excel and then eventually Python programming and then AI applications that we know today. But the inspiration has really been my dad. And interestingly, he saw me as an entrepreneur from a very early age. So he didn't push me into getting a job as much as I went to university, but he didn't push me into getting a job in corporate.
So I guess also coming from a nurturing background, has played a very big role in who you are as well. So
Indeed.
Going back to just 15 years in the AI space, if you were to explain AI to a non-technical user, to the lovely ladies that prepared lunch for us, how would you describe or define AI in very simple, basic terms?
All of us know the abacus. A lot of us know the abacus. I'd like you to imagine the abacus, which taught a lot of us how to do maths, how to count, and so on. That, in its day, was AI. So let that land. AI is really an evolution of tools. The intelligence has always been there. As humans, we've always had the intelligence. We're the ones who created the abacus. And then the calculator, pocket-out calculator, which was the evolution of the abacus. And then we got Excel spreadsheets, which were much more efficient than calculators. Then from spreadsheets we went to accounting systems, software, and now these AI solutions. So it's ultimately a way of counting, a way of doing maths, keeping track. However, the way we keep track of numbers is a lot more sophisticated now, and we can do that maths on a much larger scale, much bigger numbers in fractions of a second, instead of taking 5 minutes to calculate the square root of 10 billion.
You're always hinting at something there around compute power, and I do want us to talk a little bit about that. But just before that, it's such an exciting time to be an African, entrepreneur, or even being an African in the IT tech space. The investment is quite intensive, right? But it seems as if there is a bit of a challenge in terms of realizing the investment from a tangible infrastructure impact perspective. Where do you feel we're getting it wrong? Because the funding's definitely coming in, investment is coming in. Why are we not seeing it being made or being put to tangible use? Where are we falling short? And the reason why I'm asking this question is, as you may know, there was quite a serious scandal with the MasterCard Foundation and a particular accelerator program on the African continent, where, heavy investment was actually put forward towards that particular accelerator, and quite a lot of the startups didn't get an opportunity to access that particular funding. So in instances like those, how do we close the gap in terms of making sure that the investment actually does reach the appropriate beneficiaries? It's real, it's hectic, it's scandalous,
very
this thing.
Serious.
Yes.
The ROI gap is a serious gap which a lot of organizations are seeing. Academic institutions are studying this. MIT has published the infamous report that says 95% of AI pilots fail to show a return on investment. Why? And what's special about the 5% that do get it right? That's the conversation that I'm really excited for us to have. There are predictable ways to make your investment in AI generate returns. It's about knowing what you want to achieve upfront, having clear metrics for what you want to measure, and being really intentional with the investment that you're going to make and how you're going to track your returns on that investment. So to sum it up, the ROI gap is the main one, but it's really perpetuated by the agility gap, the lack of having the skills and the agility to deliver at scale, and then the integration gap, the ability to use real data to inform the decisions that the AI is making. Those are the impediments that hold back so many organizations. The ROI gap, agility gap, integration gap. Really, a lot of organizations are struggling with that, but they don't have to. There are ways to get past those gaps.
Before we get to the ways of overcoming those particular gaps, from a practical perspective, what kind of metrics should a startup or a business user leverage?
Absolutely. I usually say financial metrics and non-financial metrics. We shouldn't focus only on the financial metrics. On the financial metrics, what impact does it have on revenue? How can you reduce cost? And ultimately, how can you improve your profitability, which is now both the revenue and the cost. So revenue is access to new markets, new customers, upselling or cross-selling existing customers, using AI to do that. All of that increases revenue. Cost reduction, if you can do something which used to cost 100 Rand and it now costs you 20 Rand or 5 Rand, that reduction in cost goes straight to your financial ROI. And then when you combine the revenue and the cost, ultimately it improves your profitability. That's just financial ROI. On the non-financial ROI, you get efficiency gains. If something used to take 10 hours and it can now be done in half an hour, that time saving is an efficiency gain. And now the team that's doing that can be repurposed and directed to do other things with that time that they now have available. Efficiency gains is number one. Sustainability gains. So you've spoken a little bit about data centers and the impact on the environment. So if your organization can be more sustainable because of AI, that's a way of achieving non-financial ROI. And then the third one is your risk reduction. So if you can reduce risk through AI-enabled solutions, that goes straight to your non-financial ROI. Those are the ways to measure. And if you can be intentional about that upfront, you will have much greater success in closing the ROI gap once you've made your investment.
Sure, really insightful. Just in terms of risk, so as you know, I support our startups with solution optimization, market access at Cloudmania, and sometimes there's a bit of a challenge, right, where hyperscalers have a tendency pushing their own agenda. For startups, what do you feel startups should be guided by when looking for an ideal hyperscaler to host their solution? So how do I decide, if I want to host my solution on-prem, if I want it to be in a public or private cloud, and even if it is, let's just say, a public cloud, how do I know who the best vendor is?
Whew. Very important question.
If you don't know, or maybe before going into, I don't know if you'd like us to move away from the vendor conversation and maybe just focus on building on-prem versus on cloud, or within the cloud, public or private cloud.
Yes. I have very strong biases toward cloud because of the many benefits that it comes with. So I wouldn't even have a conversation about on-prem, especially if you're talking about AI. So use the cloud for sure. Work with a cloud vendor of some sort. I won't name names because I don't want to reveal too many biases. However, when it comes to choosing a vendor, you want to look at the services that that vendor is offering, particularly when it comes to AI. And you can see which ones are stronger, which services fit more with what you want to achieve. So whether it's text to speech, speech to text, whether it's video processing, whether it's image generation, whatever you want to do in the AI space, there's a cloud platform and a vendor that's offering that. You can compare apples for apples to see which one is the best. I do have my own biases, and I think there's one which is better, but I'd rather not mention that here.
Right. Without mentioning that particular vendor,
Yes.
what are you guided by in terms of deciding? And in your particular preference, what were you guided by with your vendor of preference?
The ease of use, the scalability, and just the competence of the solution. So if I worked on a program, to tell a little bit of a story, with one of the major financial institutions, we took 15 of their data scientists on an AI program to train them on how to use this cloud platform. And at the end, we did a 24-hour hackathon, and they produced 3 solutions for a bank within 24 hours.
Sure.
So what enabled us to do that in 24 hours is the skill and the competence of this platform which we're using, the abilities of the software in that platform, particularly when it comes to creating the agents, integrating with your data wherever it is, and running it at scale. That's what enabled us to create 3 solutions in 24 hours. So those are the things that I looked at, the things that will really help you accelerate and get over impediments. Now the ease of use, the ability of the solution, and just the scalability. So those are the things that I
Wow, incredible. 3 solutions within
24 hours. We
It
started
speaks a
at
lot.
9 the one day,
Wow.
we were done by 9 a.m. the next day.
My goodness, it speaks a lot to the talent pool that we have, and we cannot deny the talent that's bestowed upon us on the African continent. But do you feel that we are investing enough in skills and expertise from an AI perspective?
There's a serious imbalance when it comes to the investment in skills, and that's why we see the agility gap that I spoke to, the skills and the delivery capability to deliver at scale. So there are organizations and many initiatives. I'll name Microsoft, which has the initiative of investing in 1 million AI skills. So that's a serious investment, and I really hope to see that taking shape and gaining a lot of momentum. So if we can get to 1 million people skilled up on AI, that will close that skills gap in a brilliant way. So we are seeing those investments. It's just a question of acceleration and how quickly we can get that adoption to happen. So we are seeing it in some spaces. It's just a matter of acceleration and the pace.
Acceleration
really of
is
that
key.
adoption.
Acceleration is key. Last question, Mosa. As a founder, you've been in the entrepreneurship ecosystem for all of your life, right? It's almost as if you were born to be a founder and an entrepreneur. What are maybe top 2, top 3 considerations that founders such as yourselves in the IT space should bear in mind in the adoption of AI? Can be both good and not so good, but any sort of considerations from your own experiences being an entrepreneur?
Consideration number 1 is to be purpose-led. We're all here for a reason, and you get to discover what that reason is. Whether it's AI or not AI, whatever it is, be purpose-led. Be led by your purpose in life. That's consideration number 1, and that leads to other parts and other doors opening. I'd say that's consideration number 1. Consideration number 2 is be creative, be open to new ways of doing things, and be flexible. I'd say that's consideration number 2, because there's so much learning that comes with being flexible. And the third one is really collaborate.
Collaboration is currency.
Collaboration is currency. Your network, in attending events like this one, people that you meet, it sparks a lot of room for a lot of collaboration, which opens other doors and really compounds your success. So yeah, be purpose-led, be creative and be flexible, and collaborate.
Mosa, it's been such a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for your time, and wishing you all the best in your journey. Where can people get a hold of you? People want to leverage some of your advisory services and really tap into your AI knowledge pool. Where can people get a hold of you?
Excellent. The website is actualise.africa.
Okay.
Actualise, ACTUALISE. Africa. That's the website where all the information is available. In addition, you'll find our YouTube channel where there's content we've created on this very topic, the ROI gap, agility gap, and so on. You'll find our LinkedIn there and many LinkedIn articles which I've published. And you'll also find my book, AI ROI Success, on that same website, which speaks about this in a lot more detail.
Gosh, ladies and gentlemen, quite a bit of collateral you have access to. Thank you so much for your time. Please reach out to Mosa on Actualise.Africa and really be able to tap into his knowledge base. And thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your insights and wishing you all the best in your journey. And have fun at the AI Expo. I hope you are still having fun.
I'm having a lot of fun.